To everybody else, they look at they see a case, and I don't see a case. I see my brother. I see someone that I grew up with, who I slept in the same bed with, who I ate banana mayonnaise sandwiches with, somebody that helped me with my homework, who I had Bible study with, who taught me how to be a professional, who taught me things about life, and somebody that I can depend on at all times. He was one of a kind. He was one of a kind. I can honestly say that.
And what was it like having to watch some of that horrendous video in court?
It was devastating having to relive it all over again. It's like an emotional roller coaster. Stuff is just constantly running through your mind. You have to relive anything and everything. You hear him constantly screaming because he's been tortured to death, and he's gasping for air like a fish out of water.
How are you feeling seeing Derek Chauvin in court?
It's just, he's in there. I just hope that justice gets served and he get convicted. It's not right that African American people, we never get justice. We constantly have to worry about people killing us. When we get pulled over by police officers, it makes my stomach boil because I don't know what's going to happen. I just don't know if you're going to get a good cop or you're going to get a bad cop. Police are here to protect us. That's what they're sworn in to do. But at that time, my brother, he was killed over a $20 bill. My brother died right there in front of a store with kids watching him, people pleading, tried to render aid.
And some of those people who've given evidence talked about not only how distressing it was to watch George suffering, but also how guilty they feel now that they didn't do more. What would you say to them? How does that make you feel?
I wouldn't want them to have any guilt, because the person who should be feeling guilty is Chauvin, because he killed my brother. He had his knee on my brother's neck for over 9 minutes. The thing about it is, when out there that day, you had individuals out there looking, and they were trying to stop him. Also, it was a 9-year-old girl, and she was quivering while she was talking about George being tortured to death. She's gonna be shell-shocked. She's gonna have that seared in her brain for years to come, like PTSD. And also, you have to think about it, she had love on her shirt. And you think about the other minor, she said George reminded of her father, her uncle, her cousin, people like that. You have to think about things like that. She would never be able to go through life again as a normal person, because she would have flashbacks constantly of a man being tortured to death. And you go on to the firefighter. She was trying to render aid, but they wouldn't allow her to do it. And when I tell you one thing, you better believe it's a God, because all of those people in one place at one time, somebody had the video, somebody had love on their shirt, you had a professional who knew about chokeholds, and you also had a firefighter who knew how to resuscitate at that time.
And what does justice look like for you?
Justice for me is a conviction, because murder is not murder until somebody is convicted of it. And it's too many times that I have seen people get off for killing African American people. You can start all the way back to Rodney King. It was nothing. He didn't get convicted. He didn't get any justice. You go to Trayvon Martin. They didn't get justice for him. You can go on up and you think about Breonna Taylor. She didn't get any justice. You go to Eric Garner. He had a video just like Rodney King. He didn't get justice. But right now, we at that time, we can get justice because people are marching all over the world for him, and they're all yelling, "I can't breathe," and no justice, no peace.
And how does that make you feel, seeing people around the world come together behind you?
It makes me feel good, because people are standing up for what was right. People marched in a pandemic when COVID was out, putting their lives on the line for what was right. If people are willing to get out and put their lives on the line for somebody else who they didn't know, but they watched him in the video and know that he still should be here right now, that's a blessing, because people are sick and tired of seeing the same thing every time.